a fine frosty morning for a walk above the sea. And this is Tarbert. Tarbert Loch Fyne. Now the word Tarbert occurs quite commonly in Scotland and it always means the same thing. A neck of land between two lochs. And here the neck of land divides Loch Fyne on the Clyde from the Atlantic, where the West Loch goes out to the Hebrides. And this particular Tarbert became famous way back in the year 1098, when a very special Viking, a Norseman, he was a king of Norway at the age of 20, but he'd been brought up in Scotland. He always wore the kilt, so he was known as Magnus Bareleg. And it was said he was a very unpeaceable man. He wanted to extend the power of the Norsemen, and he saw a very crafty way of doing it, because he'd made an agreement with the King of Scotland that he could take any piece of land round which he could sail with a rudder in place and the sails drawing. When he came to Tarbert and saw this neck of land, it was less than a mile across, he knew the way to make Kintyre into an island. He sat in the long ship, put up the sails, took the tiller, and let the strong men pull him across. And thereby, he won a piece of land which the sagas say was better than any of the Hebrides for Norway. This is not a natural ridge I'm walking on. It's an old defence structure. We don't know how old. What we do know is that a king of Dalriada, King Selbach, in the year 712, burned the fortress that was here. This is the old foundation. And what a situation and what a marvellous morning to be here. The place is just flooded with colour. And you can see how this entrance here is almost invisible from the sea. Then it's landlocked, you sail into the bay, a natural anchorage, a perfect place to take. But the story that goes on from there, from these early days to the story of independence, that's the one that I'm going to follow up. This crumbling tower is what the Tarbert folk tell you is Bruce's castle. Only half the height of what it used to be, covered with ivy now, showing the great antiquity of it. It dates back to 1494, which isn't all that long ago really, because Bruce established a castle here very, very much earlier. Bruce's castle cost £511 to build. Money must have been money in these days. And Bruce actually held a parliament here. Imagine a parliament being held here. Well, it was because Bruce's fortunes at that time weren't anything like as strong as they were to become. So much of the country was in enemy hands. And he saw the importance of Tarbert as a gateway to the west. He saw its future as a trading port. He made it a borough and a sheriffdom. He turned Tarbert into a very important place. King Robert the Bruce, the great military tactician, saw Tarbert as the key to the western approaches. And he decided to prove them himself, because he did as Magnus had done in 1098. He got his galley pulled across from Tarbert, across to the West Loch, sailed down and round to Castle Sween to see what was happening there, because things weren't going well there. So when he turned Tarbert into a borough, a seaport, a sheriffdom to enforce the laws, extract customs, he made this place really go. It's grown ever since, and it's still a thriving place. New houses are going up, new boat building yard, and I can see every night that things are happening here, the way the boats are coming round the corner from the Kilbrennan Sound. So let's see what it's doing today. afternoon.
Afternoon. It's Tom Weir.
Correct. I don't know your name.
Mr. McCaffer.
McCaffer.
Yes.
Are you a fisherman?
Yes, a retired fisherman.
And how about the sea area? When you were fishing for herrings, you were out between Arran and Kintyre mostly.
Yes, and Arran and Ayrshire side. Both sides of Arran.
Yes. And where is the prawn fishing done?
Something similar on the same ground.
Is it harder work or easier work than the herrings?
Oh, I think it's much easier.
In what way?
Well, they put the net over the side and they may tow for about 3 hours. There's nobody above but the skipper and the wheelhouse. All the rest are down below.
What happened in the herrings?
Well, in the herring, they were on the deck most of the time. There had to be somebody looking over the bow of the boat there to see if they would see any in the phosphorescence.
Would you say it was a good life?
Oh, yes, good life.
And a huge life?
I enjoyed it anyway.
How many boats are out fishing today?
There'll be 22.
22.
Yes.
When do you think they'll be in tonight?
Any time, I believe, from 6 o'clock onwards.
Will you be down to see them?
Hope so.
Well, so will I. And I'll be looking for you, and I hope there'll be a good catch.
Yo.
Cheerio now.
Cheerio.
Bye. That's Simon the Seal, who lives off Social Security. He just hangs around the harbour and feeds off the boats. A good life. How was the lunch today?
Fairly middling.
Fairly middling. Not as good as you'd hope.
Not very great, no.
Oh, that's a pity. What do you think of it tonight?
Just more or less as usual.
Quite good.
Aye, just the usual.
So every night in the week this goes on,
Well,
except
it's,
Friday night maybe.
A Thursday night's a few more on a Thursday night because some of the boats going to land twice a week. Well, it's steady. It's still extraordinarily good, but it's quite steady.
There's a living in it.
There's a living in it. Just
That's the harbour master, Angus McFarlane, who's always on the go, night and day. But the place where fishermen and tourists come together most often is in one of the bars or hotels that line the quay, where a man might just go for a dram after landing his catch. Dougie McKinnon, you're the owner of 2 fishing boats, or a part owner anyway.
Yes.
And you own this hotel in Tarbert.
Yeah.
How important is tourism to the community here?
Well, I would say it's very, very important. I would say it's one of the most important things, apart from maybe fishing is probably one of the important ones. But tourism, I would say, is really the main industry, if you like to call it, in this part of the country. Yeah.
And does this mean then that the shops that I see all around here are very heavily dependent for survival on what comes in the summer?
Well, I would say so. If you walk around just now at this time of the year, you'll find that most of them are empty, but they really do depend on the tourists quite a lot.
Well, I've been very, very comfortable here, and it's very clear there is a standard of service around here which you don't find everywhere in the country.
Well, that's nice to hear.
Does this stem from the fact that, they're very conscious of the need to attract people back again?
Oh, I think so. They really have to try hard to get them back. We haven't an awful lot to offer apart from that. It's service, because there are not many other things to do. It's beautiful scenery, but that's about it.
And really then you could say that Tarbert, being where it is, it tends to be a touring centre rather than a holiday resort.
Oh yes, without a doubt. It's not a place where somebody might spend 3 weeks, but 2 nights here and on the go, and then more come in. Some stay 3 nights because they like it, but it is more of a touring centre.
And how about the length of the season?
Oh, it's not a bad season compared to many places. I think we get from May to September quite well now, going into October probably.
And a big influx of yachtsmen in the summer?
Oh yes, it's one of the most popular yachting centres I would say in Scotland.
Thank you, Dougie McKinnon. Well, where better to go to find out about the yachts than the local boat yard? Peter Cass, I know you've got a boat yard in Glasgow. What brought you to Tarbert?
Well, I came here 5 years ago when the previous manager died, And I came for a week to look after the place, and I'm still here. I enjoy the place very much. I like the quality of life, I like the people, and I like the work.
And is there plenty of that?
Well, there is plenty of it around, yes. As far as yachts and fishing boats are concerned, there's never any shortage of work here.
And is it pretty well the leisure business in the summer and the other stuff throughout the year?
No, there's more leisure in the summer, naturally, because there are more yachts around, but fishing boats continue all the year round. They're out and in here all the time.
So it's repairing not only structurally but engines as well?
Oh yes, very much so. It's one of the biggest employers in Tarbert, and it's one of the biggest industries in Tarbert. Dickey's yard went out of business about 15 years ago, and eventually this present company took it over, and it's gone from strength to strength.
Well, long may it continue.
I hope so too.
Well, we're back in Tarbert, Kintyre, and this is Alec McSporran, a good old friend of mine. He's the plumber in Tarbert, and whenever I'm here, I always look him up for a very special reason. And this is it.
Well, Tom, what do you think of that as a view, eh?
Oh, terrific. Well, today I think it's the best I've ever seen it.
Ah, but I wish you'd see it in the early morning, about 6 o'clock in the morning. A summer's morning, fantastic. You just stand here and you look, all the boats are in, and it's really wonderful.
What is it that you find so completely fulfilling here?
Well, the peace and the quietness and the natural way of living and the decent way of living. And I love every minute of being in Tarbert, and I don't think I would ever leave it.
And you can always see everything that's going on below you.
Yes, there's always something moving in the water.
There's a
Whether
boat
it's
coming
a
in now,
boat.
a fishing boat.
Yes, and it doesn't matter when you look out the window, there's always something moving.
And how about the community, the folks who work here? Do you know them all?
Know every one of them. Know everybody in Tarbert.
Your finger is on the pulse, especially if there's a burst pipe or two. Or a wee bit of central heating or something like that to be done, and there's always plenty of work.
Plenty of work. My biggest job is when I go down the road there is to keep out that Folks Road, because they're always chasing me.
What does everybody do in Tarbert, Alec?
Well, most of the young people go to the fishing, the young boys go to the fishing, and then there's the fish factories, and then there's, different trades. But the bulk of the younger people, they go away to Glasgow, to learn whatever it could be.
So really it's pretty well everything connected with the sea that's still the life of Tarbert.
Yes.
Then.
Aye, connected round the fishing. Of course, Tarbert's a fishing village.
And I hear there's been a big increase in the number of tourists coming here, Alec.
Well, that's quite so. Within the last 5 years, I would say, there's a lot more people coming to the village. There's a lot more yachts coming in the summertime, nice handy size of boats. And I would say in the whole, there's a big increase in tourism.
Well, I'll be one of them in the near future, Alec. It'll be great talking to you.
It's been a pleasure
So,
to talk to you.
Cheerio just now.
Cheerio now.
Bye-bye. Alec is very much a man of Tarbert today. To find out what gives Tarbert its special character, I went to talk to one of the oldest inhabitants, Maudie Macmillan, a very special character herself. Maudie Macmillan, you were born in Tarbert 84 years ago,
Yes, 1896.
and now you're living in one of these wee sheltered houses, and I must say it's a real wee beauty. You like it?
Oh, I love it. Love it.
And you were born not very far from here.
Oh, just across this from the church, just a stone throw.
How many was in the family?
12. 7 boys and 5 girls. But one of my brothers was going to Canada, and the Titanic had been sunk. And my mother got it into her head that we would never be together again. So she marched us up to Cook's in the High Street in Paisley and got the photograph taken, and this is the enlargement.
What about your schooling in Tarbert? Was it good enough for the outside world?
Oh, yes. As I said, there's professors came out of there, ministers, doctors. It was a first-class school.
Do you find a basic difference in the way of life today than when you were a girl?
Oh, aye, it's different altogether. There none of us had it in these days. If my mother had it and yours hadn't it, we shared it. They were very, very good, especially the back street. It was a great street for that.
Women didn't go out to work then?
No, the mothers didn't go out to work. The only people that went out to work in my young days was widows, or if you had a sick husband. But there was no such a thing, no. The mother was in the home for the child coming home from the school. They're all working now, you see.
You don't approve of that?
No, I don't. I don't approve of it at all. I think a mother's place is in the home. Can you do without two pays now, you see?
Yours was a Christian home, Maudie.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. We had morning prayer and round the lamp at night. It was no electricity in these days. It was the oil lamp and Bible reading. Very, very much so.
And with the kirks?
We wouldn't get out on a Sunday. You know the only way I got out on a Sunday? There was a spring well at the top of the street where we lived in, and it was fresh water. The only day I would never a twist in my face when I would be asked to go for a stop of water, because when I got up, I forgot to come back. I used to leave it with the fishermen and go away and play in the hills. And when I would come back, my father would say, "Were you making it?"
What about contentment? Do you think there's more contentment or less about today?
Oh, they're less. Oh, they're less. No doubts about it. We were content with so little.
And your son's a fisherman now?
My son's a fisherman. He's got his own boat, the Sunbeam.
And is there a good future in it for him, do you think?
Well, they're telling me, I don't know. His wife will confirm it, whether it's right or wrong. He's one of the best fishermen in Tarbert. Is that right, Margaret? Whiles. Oh, well, I think he's done guy well towards you anyway. You haven't want it for much.
Is there anything about Tarbert which is, you would say, unique to Tarbert?
Well, when there's a wedding, the Monday before the wedding, there's what's called the Carachan night. It's the women, only women go to it. But you all go, you don't get an invitation, but you go and bring a gift. In my mother's time, it was tea and sugar and that. In my time, it was presents. But nowadays, some of them get washing machines. They get everything nowadays. That's honest. One tries to outdo the other. Who can get the best present?
And they all turn up the same night?
Oh, they all turn, and they get a great feed. Oh, there's a great feed. It used to be, the wee lodge used to be, I know in my own son's, it is Carachan, you engaged the lodge for the dance, for to get rid of them.
So that keeps the community spirit
Oh,
going?
yes. Oh, and they're very keen on it. Oh, they give great gifts. Is that no right, Margaret? She's no hearing me.
Oh, well, we'll never know what Maudie's daughter-in-law Margaret said to that. But she's well up to the repartee, and I have to move on down the road. So here we are, just over a mile from Tarbert, and we're on the West Loch, the gateway to the Atlantic. And we do that short walk from Tarbert on the Clyde to the West Loch there. It makes you wonder why a ship canal was never dug. Only 47 feet above ground. I walked over rocks and bog that seemed to me to be easy of excavation. Henry Bell and James Watt surveyed it 200 years ago or thereabouts, and they approved it at a small cost. Well, we don't know why it never came. What we do know is that it would have been a great convenience to the fishermen of Tarbert. You know, Maudie was telling me her father was the last oyster bed fisherman to work the beds, and he was paid £1 a week to raise a family of 12. Well, since that time, the Tarbert fishermen have known a lot of fortunes, a lot of them very bad, some of them very good. And at the moment, they're going through a crisis period. But talking to them in Tarbert, one thing was clear to me. They were going to make a success of the fishing if it was humanly possible, because they don't want to live anywhere else on earth but Tarbert. And it's easy to see why. The place is so attractive. It'll always be attractive to anybody who comes to see it because of its uniqueness on the edge of this marvellous peninsula. It certainly is attractive for me, and I'm sure it would be for you too.